Something very interesting has been happening with Sonic Frontiers recently, and it's something that more and more people, including myself, have started to notice. People are switching up on it! The very same game that people praised for saving the franchise back in 2022 is now apparently bad? But why did this happen? Well, most of it stems from the fact that, well, this is the Sonic community. You know, the same one that now says 06 is a masterpiece, and is even starting to call Forces good. So part of it is from that. But another part, I think, comes from the very gameplay loop that lies in 90% of Frontiers. Let's not waste any more time and cut into the herring surprise and potatoes of this video.
What's the surprise?
Let's first start by establishing Frontiers' core gameplay loop. Your goal for each island is to collect the 7 Chaos Emeralds to go super in order to take out the Titans. In order to do this, you have to have a certain number of keys to unlock an emerald from its respective vault. But to get these keys, you need to complete cyberspace stages, and there are objectives that grant you extra keys. But in order to play the cyberspace stages, you need portal gears, which you get from bosses. But in order to face the bosses... No, wait, the bosses don't actually require anything to play. But it's better to try the bosses if you have better stats. To get these, you need more skills, better attack, better defense, and possibly more speed as well as a larger ring capacity. But let's start small, with some basic enemies littered all around that gives you some skill points upon killing them. These points are used to unlock moves from the skill tree, while others are unlocked naturally as you progress through the story. There's also red seeds of attack and blue seeds of defense, which are both small collectibles all around the islands that can be traded for, you guessed it, more attack and defense when talking to a Hermit Coco. The final two upgrades, speed and ring capacity, can both be upgraded when exchanging small Coco around the map while talking to an Elder Coco. So, just to give a quick recap in pyramid form. Beating bosses means clearing cyberspace, means getting keys, means getting Chaos Emeralds, means getting to the Titan fights, means advancing to the next island. On the side is the skill tree, attack, defense, speed, and ring capacity. Got that all in your head? If you don't, rewatch it, because it'll be important. Also, I thought it'd be a good time to mention that I won't be counting the DLC. I know, but it just seems unfair to include it. Other Sonic games like Unleashed and Generations were as good as they were without updates, so Frontier should be able to pull its own weight on its official release. Now, let's finally get to the part where I talk about how this gameplay loop is actually kinda bad, and some of you agree and some of you threaten me in the comments. Sounds good? The first problem I want to talk about is how generic everything is in the game. Not just the graphics, which look like Sonic Team didn't even try to stylize, but the puzzles and challenges, if you dare to call them that. Puzzles in this game range from these blocks, to shooting a ball, to jump roping, to skydiving, to a hamster wheel. Do you see what the common pattern is here? Most of these challenges don't utilize Sonic's skill set very well. I can already hear the comments if this video doesn't flop, but if you don't want to see the video flop and want to support me, consider liking and subscribing, yada 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 yada. What about the action chain challenges? Well, yes, these action chain challenges exist, they're fun. That doesn't excuse the fact that these were introduced in Wave 2 of DLC. If there wasn't DLC, we wouldn't even have these, so as it stands, I can't give these challenges full credit. And then there's the challenges. I've been using heavy quotations on that word, because really, 95% of these aren't challenges at all. They're a grind fest that isn't disguised well in the slightest. Most of them consist of homing attack chains, more homing attack chains, maybe the occasional jump or grind rail section, and then you get whatever the reward is. Do you see what the problem is? Not only are these boring, but also annoying when trying to grind for better stats. Me personally, I'd much rather have 10 to 20 big challenges that are actually well thought out and give defense and attack seeds in large amounts, than have however many small challenges that are basically all the same, and hardly utilize Sonic's abilities. I can't believe I'm saying this, but some of these challenges rival Forces when it comes to automation, which really isn't the comparison you want. Speaking of automation, I thought I'd briefly touch up on that, because not only does Frontiers offer a lot of it, but in some areas, it actually encourages it. Let's just get this out of the way. Rails are a huge part of this game. They're in challenges, in bosses, in the air, heck, even the official cover art shows Sonic grinding a huge rail. Which is insanely ironic considering that the most automated part of Sonic games these days is getting more box art attention than the game's main selling point. But despite rails being literally everywhere, the physics here couldn't be less watered down than their ancestors from Adventure 2. There is literally nothing going on with these things. You get on them, you watch Sonic hit a cool pose, maybe boost to go faster, then get off when you need to. The only, and I mean the only, saving grace about these things is the rail jump. But even things important enough as the combat, which mind you, you'll be using a lot, aren't safe from the automation monster. Most of these attacks are 10% of actual player input and 90% cool and flashy animations. Whoa! Sonic is flinging a bunch of balls at those bad guys. Oh, and now he's zigzagging to hit that other bad dude. And oh my god, now he's spinning and attacking that other one. It's so peak! Do you see what I'm saying? This is why Unleashed will always be my GOAT. Because unlike Frontiers, there's room for player expression and creativity. Oh yeah, creativity. Something that cyberspace wouldn't know much about. I mean, the idea was there. More traditional Sonic stages to tide the player over while working towards the epic Titan fights? Count me in! Then the stages were shown off, and it was clear that there was some inspiration taken from other Sonic games. What this means is that there's like 5 original stages, and the rest are stage layouts that have literally been dragged and dropped from games like Unleashed, Generations, and Adventure 2. Sounds a bit cheap considering this game's price tag, but come on, what's really the worst that can happen? Everything. First of all, everything is either Green Hill, Chemical Planet, Sky Sanctuary, or Eternal Highway. So immediately, 75% of these themes are just blatant nostalgia bait. The stages from Unleashed and Generations also just completely cut the 2D parts, so that chops the runtime in half. In fact, most of these stages feel way too short, but it's also clear that Frontiers' physics don't work at all in these copied layouts, and weren't intended to be played this way. They don't fit the boost stages because basically all speed has been reduced to a run at most. Don't give me that it's faster than Unleashed, it's just a camera angle bull. If Sonic Team wanted the game to feel fast, they would have set the camera angle closer from the get-go. But these physics also don't work with the momentum-based stage layouts, because you can't gain momentum! It's just hilarious how by trying to pander to all audiences, Sonic Team ended up satisfying nobody. And that's another point I'll get to later. But for now, let's focus on some post-game content.
There's nothing. Thank you, son.
Yep, nothing. Correction, there's almost nothing. Supreme is the final original thing you'll be doing in Frontiers' main story. But hey, look on the bright side. You've still got tons of those collectibles to unlock from the automated challenges. And if you get bored of that, you can challenge the bosses again and use your automated attacks! This is a huge problem with most open world games, because there's not much you can add that'll make sense narratively. Like with Spider-Man 2 for example. The best things, and in fact the only things you can do after beating the main campaign, are the side quests, random crimes, and mastering the swinging. Now, I know we would have gotten more content had it not been for massive leaks, but as the game stands now, there's incredibly little to do, which makes it very comparable to Frontiers. But with Frontiers, you don't even get side quests. You can run around, sure, but there comes a point where not even mindlessly running while listening to music is fun. There are things like Boss Rush Mode, Arcade Mode, and New Game Plus, but again, those were DLC content. I won't deny that these are pretty well put together though, especially for free DLC. I feel like Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition, if anything, should at least add a couple of additional missions that could maybe even set up some events for Frontiers 2. Things as small as an out-of-control Eggman robot mission that lasts 20 minutes most are the things I'm talking about. But as it stands, Frontiers is a game that has little to nothing to do after beating the main game. And all of these things culminate in my final point. In Frontiers' attempt to both create multiple open worlds that are engaging, as well as include a plethora of traditional Sonic stages, they ended up falling short in both areas. The hard truth is that Sonic Team needed more time and more staff to fully realize both of these visions. In my opinion, they should have either stuck with one or the other. They could have doubled down on the open world idea, and in the process stylize the environments, as well as make the challenges more engaging, and maybe even add more islands. Or they could have stuck with cyberspace and incorporated elements from previous Sonic games with original ideas splashed here and there. Oh, wait a second, that sounds familiar! Funny enough, the same thing happened with my favorite Sonic game, Unleashed. I know I keep mentioning it, but it's for a good reason. And in an attempt to appeal to a wider audience, Sonic Team ended up pleasing less people than they would have if they stuck with one gameplay style. However, unlike Frontiers, both gameplay styles are, I don't want to say perfect, but at the same time, it handles both high speed and combat based gameplay better than Frontiers, which is funny considering that Unleashed was Sonic Team's first attempt at both styles. I don't want this video to come across as me hating Frontiers. I like it a lot. The story for one is the best that we've gotten since the late 2000s, and the Titan bosses are addicting, but I can't ignore its flaws either. As it stands, Frontiers lacks severely in both of its main aspects, and I hope that making those things better is a top priority for Sonic Team for Frontiers 2. Anyways, thanks everyone for sticking around to the end. Again, if you want to support me, like and subscribe with the bell so you don't miss out on any more Sonic videos.